All right, we're going to take a look at this first question time of the week. Parliament back this week. Peter Van Onselen is with me to go through the highs, the lows. Peter, good afternoon to you.
G'day,
and we might kick off with our plays of the day. I'll give you my one first. It was his first outing in question time as the Assistant Treasurer, having been promoted to that role and to the ministry after serving as Parliamentary Secretary. Josh Frydenberg, for a first outing, it was,
surely not.
in my view,
You're giving Josh Frydenberg Player of the Day with his first question. Oh, my Lord.
For his first answer, because he managed to do what many on the government front bench have been unable to do, and that is to rouse the troops on the coalition side, put the heat on the other side, and he did it, in a fashion that, as I say, a lot of ministers haven't been able to do. They've been showing a lot of depression, a lot of concern and nervousness and tentativeness. Josh Frydenberg looked pretty comfortable. Have a look.
At the end of 2007, when those officers took government, they inherited a pristine balance sheet. There was zero government debt and more than $50 billion in the bank. But despite those good conditions, they left us $240 billion worth of deficit and a trajectory of $667 billion worth of debt. And it's been left to the Treasurer and people on our side to clean up your mess. But I'm asked, are there any challenges? Madam Speaker, the biggest challenges are those sitting opposite. The biggest challenges are those sitting opposite. We have to heed the message of the IMF, of the OECD, of the Parliamentary Budget Office, of the Governor of the Reserve Bank. Now, the member for McMahon had a tough week last week. We don't begrudge him for forgetting the marginal tax rates. We don't begrudge him for not knowing the currency of our largest trading partner. We don't begrudge him for not knowing the difference between gross debt and net debt. But we do begrudge him for the cover-up, which is far greater than the crime. Listen to what he had to say. I didn't see it being relevant to the conversation at hand. I chose not to answer the question. I didn't want to get into a long discussion about what various thresholds are. But the piece de resistance, Madam Speaker, was I do heaps of interviews, many hundreds of interviews, probably over 1,000. Well, Madam
I wasn't expecting to replay the whole thing there, Peter. Nonetheless, I
reckon it's a conspiracy. You and Josh Frydenberg.
It was a pretty good. It was a pretty good run.
It was, but in fairness to everyone else in the Parliament, I reckon almost any individual there could have teed off on that particular one with Chris Bowen. He had such a bad time of it. It was the obvious Dorothy Dixer of the day, wasn't it, for one of them to come in and really give him a solid whack. Josh Frydenberg did it well. We all know he's a pretty strong performer there in the Parliament. He's only going to get better. That was his first question, as you say. So he did do well, but it wasn't my player of the day. My player of the day goes to the Prime Minister.